Welcome everyone! In this video, we are going to be diving into my top 5 best teams for the Halloween Cup. The Halloween Cup has historically been one of my all-time favorite metas to play in, although it has shifted quite a bit. Enter Carbink. So we will see how it goes with Carbink in the meta. It has shifted things drastically, but we will see. I've always loved this meta. It's always been one of my favorites, but we've got 5 really strong teams that should help you get started and get off on the right track in the Halloween Cup. And yeah, like I said, we will see. But without further ado, let's dive into team number 1. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 1. And speaking of Carbink, happens to be on team 1. Holy smokes. I don't know if we can fit any more bulk on this team if we tried. My goodness. This is a very strong team. It's going to be leading Umbreon. And I have Toxapex on the safe swap and Carbink in the back to close. This is a balanced team, an ABC team, if you will. So that means that it's very flexible in how you can align each of these 3 Pokemon. I just predict that there will be a lot of Greninja on the lead, a lot of Nidoqueen on the lead in preparations for Carbink. So I think Umbreon might be the strongest lead starting out, but we will see. Again, this team very flexible. You can lead with any one of these 3 Pokemon. But I would suggest rolling with it in this formation to start. Let's have a look at the scorecard here. Look at that scorecard. Holy smokes. We've got just about straight A's all across the board. We get an A for coverage, A for bulk, B for safety, and an A for consistency. You literally don't get much better than that. Now let's move on to these matchups here. So Umbreon on the lead is going to be very strong. You're just going to outbulk a lot of things in this meta. There are some bug types that we have to be a little bit concerned about. A Pokemon like Fortress, I don't know how common it will be, but it is very good in this meta. So we will see. Fortress on the lead would be tricky, but it's only super effective damage is coming from the fast move pressure, and Umbreon is bulky enough to hang in there. And trade charge moves with it for a while. With the steel typing, makes things a little tricky for Toxapex as well. So it takes a team effort to take down a Fortress. Charjabug also core breaks the team a little bit. If we're seeing I don't anticipate seeing a lot of Charjabug lead. I think it might be in the back on most teams, as a lot of people are concerned with Carbink, and as we can see, Carbink thoroughly destroys Charjabug. But if you do see it on the lead, that's another one where you'll have to maybe soft lose lead on. You'll get it pretty low. Umbreon can comfortably tank a few of those X-Scissors, and by the time they've landed a few of them, they will be able to farm down, but you could easily align Carbink onto that and play on from there. Everything else in between is pretty straightforward with this team. It's just really the 2 bug types in this meta that could be problematic. Even something like a Shadow Scizor, Umbreon and Toxapex have excellent play against. It's really only Fortress and Charjabug. So yeah, everything else pretty straightforward. This team pretty solid. Very strong, very bulky team here. Holy smokes, and should get you off to a good start if you happen to have all 3 of these Pokemon available. So that is team number 1. Umbreon on the lead, Toxapex on the safe swap, and Carbink in the back. So without further ado, that is team 1. Let's have a look at team number 2. All right, guys, here we go. Moving right along to team number 2. Another very powerful team for this Halloween Cup meta. It leads with Greninja on the lead. Runerigus, of all things, on the safe swap. We'll get into that. And Carbink in the back. I promise this is not going to be a Carbink fest. This is the last Carbink team that we will see on this list. But you can't have this meta without having Carbink on 1 or 2 of the teams. So Greninja, very good in this meta. In case you haven't noticed, very good at applying intense shield pressure to the opponent. Runerigus on the safe swap. It's suggesting Sand Tomb Shadow Ball, but I beg to differ. I think you want Rock Tomb Shadow Ball. If you want to get spicy, I don't think you'll ever want to go without Shadow Ball, but you could. But I think Rock Tomb is a must, especially on the safe swap, having the ability to get that guaranteed debuff and deal neutral damage to just about everything in the meta. Fantastic for a Pokemon that is squishy like Greninja to come back in. And of course, Carbink, of course, in the back. So let's have a look at this scorecard. And look at that, holy smokes. A Greninja team with a bulk score of an A. I never thought I would see the day. Holy smokes. We get an A for bulk on a Greninja team. Let's go. A for coverage, B for safety, and an A for consistency. Identical to team number 1. You don't get much better than that, like I said. So let's have a look at these matchups. Greninja on the lead again. Very strong, very powerful. You're really not going to be swapping out too much unless they run counter or unless it's a charge bug. That's the only time you're hard swapping out. Tapu Fini, we could see. And if you do, I want you to know that you stay in there and play out the twos. Much like with the Ultra League matchup, the Great League matchup is the same in the twos. You win the twos, going straight Hydro Cannon. You outpace and you resist that fast move pressure. And Tapu Fini core breaks the team quite a bit. So you stay in there and you play out the twos. You've got enough bulk in the back to where you can perform adequately without shields. So that's how you play a Tapu Fini. Azumarill is a little bit different. I don't know if we'll see too many. It has never performed well in this meta. It performs a little bit better with Carbink, projected to be on quite a few teams, but I don't think we'll see it as much. But that is a little bit different. There's a lot more bulk there. That's not one that you'll stay in on. It's a team effort across the board with something like a Azumarill, but again, I don't think you'll see too much of it. But that's really the only one that I think you guys would have gotten hung up on. A potential Tapu Fini. Again, much like a Azumarill, I don't know how many we'll see, but I just wanted to prepare you guys just in case you were to encounter it. Fortress, Fortress. That's one where you could potentially try and pressure a shield early. You will thoroughly outpace. They have to land a massive Earthquake on a Greninja. But that's not one that I would stay in on for the long haul. Those bug bites will really start to add up. But maybe go for a Hydro Cannon. Either do big damage or grab a shield and then make the play into Runerigus. Look to play on from there. What else here? Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, everything else you're going to dominate on the lead. Amazing scorecard, amazing team overall. I wanted to give you guys a really good Greninja team, and I don't imagine you ever thought you'd see Runerigus as a part of that, but it actually just fits in beautifully. So that is team 2, Greninja on the lead, Runerigus running Rock Tomb on the safe swap, and Carbink in the back. So with all that said, that is team 2. Let's have a look at team number 3. All right, here we go. Team number 3, another very solid team for this Halloween Cup meta. It leads with Charjabug on the lead, Toxapex on the safe swap, and Cofagrigus in the back to close. Charjabug, very strong in the meta. It's just going to have to avoid Carbink at all costs, of course, for obvious reasons. So we've got some adequate coverage in the back. Let's have a look at the scorecard here. Very solid scorecard here for Team 3. We get a B for coverage, A for bulk, B for safety, and an A for consistency. Very strong there for Team 3. Charjabug on the lead, very, very strong. You just have to avoid the Carbinks. We've got answers in the back to Carbink. There are a couple of other technical core breakers like Sableye. I don't know how many we will see. I think the Carbink will perhaps deter a lot of Sableye usage. But if you do encounter one, you would play out the ones and then look to make a play into Toxapex. You don't win the ones. You don't win the twos either. I should have checked the zeros. I'm not sure about the zeros, though. I would doubt that you win the zeros either. So that's not a winning lead for you, but you can. It's a team effort as Sableye beats each of these Pokemon individually. So you've got to employ a team effort for Sableye. The glimmering, the glimmer of hope with that matchup is that Sableye is not known for its bulk. So that's how I would play Sableye and dance around a little bit. Frostlass, another core breaker, again, much like Sableye. I don't know if Carbink's going to push that out of the meta altogether. We will see. But you would play that in a similar fashion. Although Cofagrigus has a lot more solid play against Frostlass, as it's doing super effective fast move pressure to it, so not as bad as a Sableye. But those are the two I wanted to highlight most. Everything else is pretty straightforward here with Team 3. Cofagrigus can put in work against Carbink. It does outpace and it does hit Carbink pretty hard. And Toxapex, of course, has a thorough win and solid victory over Carbink as well. So that is team number 3. Charjabug on the lead, Toxapex on the safe swap, and Cofagrigus in the bag. So with all that said, that's team 3. Let's have a look at team number 4. All right, my friends, here we go. Team number 4, another very strong team for the Halloween Cup, leading with Fortress on the lead, a very strong Pokemon in this meta. Hisuian Quillfish on the safe swap, and Mandibuzz in the back. A bit of an ABB style team here for the Halloween Cup. Let's have a look at this scorecard here. Very solid scorecard. We get an A for coverage, which is definitely what you'll want to strive for whenever you're team building for a particular meta. B for bulk, B for safety, and a B for consistency. So very solid scorecard here for team number 4. Fortress, very strong in the meta, has a lot of solid victories in this Halloween Cup. We actually beat Carbink, one of the few Pokemon that can beat Carbink. And we have strong play across the board here. So there are a few where we're getting out of there. Something like a Jellicent, you want no part of. In fact, any ghost type you don't really want any part of, which is why we have 2 dark types in the back. Mandibuzz, very tricky. It's very bulky, obviously, but Fortress can hang in there a little bit. If you're seeing a lot of Mandibuzz, Fortress can learn Rock Tomb, and that does shore up that matchup a little bit better. I think Mandibuzz can still squeak it out, but makes it a lot closer. But if you're running the conventional Earthquake, that's another one where you're going to want to employ a team effort. Maybe play out the ones, whittle it down a little bit, and then try and make a play into Quillfish and play on from there. What else was I looking at here? Wheezing could be a bit problematic as well, but the 2 Pokemon in the back have a little bit of play, more so Hisui and Quillfish. But Fortress can put in a little bit of work there as well. And everything else pretty straightforward. Charjabug, a bit of a core breaker between Fortress and Mandibuzz. Again, that's where a move like Rock Tomb would really come in handy. And by the way, I do believe you still beat Carbink even if you do run Rock Tomb. It's a little bit cheaper than Earthquake, but it doesn't hit nearly as hard. You do get that guaranteed attack drop, so that would definitely secure a Charjabug matchup for you, and definitely something I would consider. So you've got a little bit of flexibility with the moveset there on Fortress. And yeah, so if you're seeing a lot of Mandibuzz and Charjabug, you might want to consider running Rock Tomb. Again, cheaper move, doesn't hit as hard, but you do get a guaranteed attack drop, which is quite nice in this meta. So that is team number 4 here. Very solid scorecard, very solid ABB style team overall. It leads with Fortress on the lead, Hisui and Quillfish on the safe swap, and Mandibuzz in the back. So with all that said, that is team 4. Let's have a look at team number 5. All right, my friends, last but not least, we've got team number 5 here. We cannot have a Halloween Cup without a classic Poison Double Dark line, leading with Nidoqueen on the lead, Greninja on the safe swap, and Umbreon in the back. So we've got solid Carbink coverage between Nidoqueen and Greninja. Greninja on the safe swap is going to be quite lethal. Able to apply that intense shield pressure to the opponents, hopefully securing a shield advantage for your team and doing a whole lot of damage. So let's have a look at this scorecard here. Very solid, not bad, very similar to Team 4. We get straight Bs across the board, B for coverage, B for bulk, B for safety, B for consistency. That's a very solid scorecard here for Team 5. Let's look at these matchups. So Nidoqueen on the lead, going to be very strong in the meta in general. You have to keep it away from the ghost types, of course. That's why we've got two very strong dark types in the back. A couple of core breakers would be Fortress, first and foremost, I would say. But it does take neutral damage from the Earth Power, which you do outpace too. So you can hit that Earth Power and try and get shields down and try and land one. Landing one is key because once you do, you can pivot out of that and then play on from there. Let me see here. We've got Zweilous and Guzzlord. Again, with Carbink in the meta, I don't know how many of those we will see. But obviously, Nidoqueen absolutely shreds with the Poison Jab damage. And once you get a Poison Fang off, things change quite a bit. But again, I don't know how many we'll see. I did want to highlight the Toxapex matchup. So with that, you pace to the big move, your Earth Power. You pace to that at the same time. It's very bait dependent. But I would try and go straight for the Earth Power. You do survive a Brine. And then you could actually look to go into Umbreon. That's probably what I would do. If they let it go, you could go into Greninja and then just look to spam until they either switch out or you get rid of the Toxapex. But either way, it's going to be a massive team effort to take down a Toxapex. But this team is up to the task. It's not impossible. But I really wanted to highlight Fortress and Toxapex. I don't know that we will be seeing too much Guzzlord or Zweilous. We will see. But yeah, that's how I would play those two. And that about wraps it up for my top 5 best Halloween Cup teams. It should be interesting. Like I said, I've really enjoyed this meta in the past. I don't know how much less enjoyable it will be with Carbink in the meta. We will see. But we do always have the Ultra League that we can hop on over to if it proves to be an unpleasant meta. But historically, it has been a lot of fun, and I will reserve judgment until we see how it plays out. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching, and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.